FireRed is my personal favorite game, but honestly, the bad guys were not handled well. Team Rocket grunts are basically bug catchers at this point. They have the same Zubat and Rattata teams that are like 10 levels beneath you, and I think Giovanni's the only actual threat. So I was thinking, if I could only use their Pokemon to try and beat the game, is this doable? I've made a few changes to the base game to make our playthrough more interesting and rocket themed, and you'll notice the first change right away as I updated the overworld sprites, along with the back sprite too, but we'll get to that later. First, we need to pick our starter, and actually, instead of picking from Professor Oak's usual options, we have 3 special starters to start our Team Rocket journey. The 3 Team Rocket admins have each contributed 1 Pokemon for us to choose as our starter, and this one, I'm super excited to show off. First up, Ariana will offer us her Oddish as a grass starter, bred or caught, I don't know, from her Ace Vileplume. If we go with this option, then we'll be following down Ariana's path to raise our own Poison Flower. I think this one is the easiest one to use. It's super effective against Brock and Misty, and this is a way you can obtain Oddish despite it being a FireRed exclusive. Second up, Archer will offer us his Houndour as the fire starter. If we go with this option, then we'd be following his footsteps to raise our own Hellhound. Houndour is probably the middle difficulty since we can evolve into the final form at only level 24 for Surge's level cap, so it's a good early evo. You get a bunch of stuff like Flamethrower, Crunch, etc., so it's a late game menace. And last but not least, Petrol will offer us his Coughing as the poison starter. It's also Proton's ace, but Petrol's the guy in Heart Gold Soul Silver who fights you with 5 Coughing and a Wheezing. But who knows, maybe these 2 work together to get you this Coughing. Coughing is definitely the hardest option. The only good thing you get is Sludge at level 21 for Misty, but the level up moveset for the late game is so bad. Explosion, Destiny Bond, Memento, it's like we're trying to die on purpose. However, the saving grace is you get lots of good TMs like Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, so there is a way to make it work. I am curious though, leave a comment for what starter you would pick out of these 3, and I'll tally them up to see who's the most popular. Me personally, I wanted to take the Archer path and try to use Houndour for a Kanto playthrough, since normally this guy isn't obtainable in the base game. We add him to the team, giving him the nickname Huggy as we immediately get challenged by our rival. His starter is still from Professor Oak, and his water typing lets him tank all of our embers, resulting in our first loss. But luckily, the Nuzlocke doesn't start until we get Pokeballs, so we can take this forced loss and continue with our Pokemon journey, all to make a name for ourselves in Team Rocket. There's only one Team Rocketmon we can get before the first gym, and that's going to be a Rattata on Route 1 named Kissy. Rattata is one of those super annoying Team Rocket favorites, like probably every single Rocket Grunt has one, but he's also just a pretty crappy Route 1 rodent. So let's see how long his stats can keep him afloat. So just a little fun fact, there are 50 Rocket Grunt battles throughout the game, and out of those 50, only 17 of them have a member of the Rattata line, which is just 34%. If we're talking the actual number of Rattatas, then they make up 28 out of the 134 Pokemon used by Rocket Grunts, which is only 21%. I was kinda surprised, you'd think it'd be more, but when you pair it with some later Pokemon, you'll start to see a pattern. I hope you guys think these statistics are cool, cause I love them. We make it through Viridian Forest and arrive in Pewter City, but truth be told, I don't have the best confidence in this team. If we want to stand a chance against Brock, we'll need some good RNG on our side. So as Brock starts with Geodude, I'm starting with Houndour. It's true that neither of these guys have the type advantage, but I'm hoping to use Geodude's bad special defense to our advantage. All we can really use is Ember, and it looks like it's gonna be, looks like a 4-shot. Geodude can't really touch us, and he also wastes some turns going for Defense Curl, so a few more Embers and we can eventually take him out. And that only leaves his Onix, and it's looking pretty good as Onix doesn't have a good attack stat and barely does any damage to us. Ember also does horrible damage in return. We really need that 10% burn, but instead we receive a critical hit tackle. And then shortly after, Onix finally goes for the Rock Tomb, taking out our starter. Rattata goes down right after without making a dent in Onix's HP, meaning Team Rocket's attempt at world domination ends here, making that our first loss. Our journey can't be over just like that. This is winnable. We just need some better luck on the enemy AI. So as we try again on attempt 2, okay, technically like attempt 4 or 5, we're leading with Houndour again with the same strat. Ember looks to be a 3 or 4 shot, but on the second turn, we land a critical hit. That honestly would have been better on the Onyx, but at least we can preserve some HP. One thing I'm doing differently though is I'm starting with more XP, that way we can level up in the middle of the fight. We need every advantage we can get, so as Onyx comes out, we're sticking with our Ember strat. The first one does not burn, but Onyx whiffs a Rock Tomb, giving us another opportunity. On turn 2, we go for it again, and we crit. Onyx is brought down to the yellow, but he retaliates with a Rock Tomb. This time, he connects, and it brings us super low and drops our speed too. It all comes down to if we can outspeed at -1 speed, but I'm not risking it. We've got our second guy in the back, so Rattata can come out and fire off Hyper Fangs, chipping away at his Onyx until he finally goes down, winning us a very annoying badge number 1 with everyone on our team still alive. So with access to Route 3 finally granted to us, we can head through to make our way towards Mount Moon, where we've been assigned to seek out some fossils for Team Rocket. We'll have to balance out our Team Rocket duties with our gym badge duties, but before we go too far, we do have to catch team member number 3. We nab a Zubat on our way through, getting the nickname The Doctor, and here we have probably the most notorious Team Rocket mon. Out of the 50 grunt battles, 20 of them use a member of the Zubat line, which is 40% of all the battles. No wonder why they feel so prevalent. When it comes to the raw number though, out of the 134 Pokemon that the grunts use, only 32 use a Zubat or Golbat, which makes up only 24%. The problem comes from I feel each grunt adding a Zubat on the team just for funsies, which makes them feel way more intrusive and overrepresented. While we're making our way through, we also made sure to stop and say hi to some of our comrades here. I think a few of them are a little jealous that we actually have a good team and are making progress, but we can pretty easily defeat them with our starter. Yeah, that's right, I've got the Rocket admin's blessing on my side. You pathetic grunts never stood a chance. On our way out of the cave, we grab a fossil as requested of us, and we can also grab another encounter. This time, it's the LeafGreen exclusive Sandshrew named Boxy. If this was FireRed, then we'd have Ekans, but I thought it'd be more fun to try and make Sandshrew work. The level up moveset is atrocious, but I'm hoping stuff like Rock Tomb and Dig can help us be stronger in the early game. Stats wise, Sandshrew is less popular among Rocket grunts, with only 6 out of the 50 trainers using one, and the overall numbers are low too, with 9 out of the 134 Pokemon representing Sandshrew or Sandslash. This one feels right. The only Sandslash I remember fighting is the one in the Rocket hideout before you fight Giovanni, but I can't remember any other ones. Now, once again, we're at a crossroads here, as we can either head up to fight a rival, unlocking more encounters, or we can try to challenge Misty first. Just from looking at our team, I think it's a pretty obvious answer. We have no choice but to challenge our rival to try and get some new encounters. His team is not a problem yet, and that's including his Ace Squirtle, since he hasn't evolved him yet and just ends up spamming Withdraw. With Nugget Bridge cleared out and Bill saved from his own experiments, Officer Jenny decides to stop blocking the burglarized house, letting us pass so we can challenge the Rocket Grunt who did this. I know I'm still kinda new to the business, but I don't think you should be hanging around at your own crime scene.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Just hanging around.
His team's a total pushover, meaning we get the Dig TM for Sandshrew and also get granted access to Vermilion City. I don't really have all that much to do here. Instead, I came all the way down for one specific encounter. To the right of Vermilion, on the route with all the gamblers, we can catch ourselves a Drowsy named Catnap, which is a much needed answer since Drowsy's naturally pretty bulky, and we definitely need that support for Misty. A lot of Rocket grunts actually have the Drowsy line, which kind of surprised me. 11 out of 50 battles involve Drowsy or Hypno, making that 22% of all grunt battles. That puts Drowsy in 3rd place then, and it's backed up by the raw numbers too, as we've got 13 out of the 134 Pokemon being from the Drowsy line, which is about 10% of all Rocket mons. Even with 5 team members though, I really don't have faith in our team to survive all those water pulses, but we did come up with a good plan. So, as Misty leads with Staryu, we're going with Raticate as our strongest warrior to face off against her lead. My strategy was to teach her the secret power TM that you get above Cerulean City, and it's somehow a one-shot. But that's just the appetizer for this battle, as the real challenge comes out. Misty sends out Starmie, and instead of going for another secret power, I need to go for consistency. We can use Scary Face to drop their speed by 2 stages, which now allows the rest of our team to outspeed our ace. You can see it here as we outspeed and chip almost half with secret power, but now we have to bow out. Drowsy comes in on a Swift, and Starmie gets lucky with a critical hit. At least our Oranberry restores some health, but the bad news is Starmie just heals up all our damage with Recover. But Drowsy's here for one purpose, and that's to use Poison Gas. We want Starmie Poison to slowly chip away at their health, and now we just have to stall him out. Zubat can even try for some bite flinches, but ultimately, it's gonna be Sandshrew to land the killing blow. Since we outspeed, we can go underground with Dig, racking up some free poison damage as we connect on the next turn with a Dig, taking out our ace and winning us badge number 2. We've got to head back down to Vermilion now, and this time, we're gonna actually do stuff here. The first thing we do is grab the bike voucher as well as the cut HM. We need to take out our rival first, but his team is still not a huge problem as I've also taught Sandshrew that Rock Tomb TM from Brock. Wartortle is a little scarier, but Raticate's still got that secret power tech and ends up breaking through his defenses. Both his Raticate and Kadabra go down to a single secret power each, so we can pack up our rival and proceed to get the HM. The captain makes us rub his back before giving it to us.
I'm desperate. Like, I'm actively searching for younger people to be in a relationship with.
FBI, open up!
But I can't even call the cops on him because, well, I'm Team Rocket. On the bright side, with a few new evolutions on the team, including our starter evolving into his final form Houndoom, we are more than ready to take on Lieutenant Surge. Sandslash is basically designed to be the perfect counter to Surge, as one by one, we can dig underground with Dig to score an easy one-shot. Voltorb goes down, and Pikachu follows suit, although he does paralyze us thanks to his static ability. But we came prepared with the Cherry Berry, so it is not a problem. Raichu tries to set up a double team on us twice while we're still underground, but we can still connect with a Stab Dig for yet another one-shot, winning us our 3rd gym badge. We're done with everything on this side of Kanto, so we made our way through the routes towards Rock Tunnel to head towards Lavender Town. While stumbling around in the dark, we also have to grab another encounter who's gonna be a Machop named Brawn, but that's gonna be basically all our encounters. The Machop line isn't super popular with Team Rocket, with only 8 trainers out of 50 using it, which is just 16% of Team Rocket. That breaks out into 12 Machops or Machokes out of all 134 Rocket Mons, making up only 9% of their Pokemon. I won't say no to a Machop though, as a fighting type will be really handy for some later matchups, but for our upcoming gym fight, he'll be taking a backseat for now. Erika is never really a challenge when it comes to Kanto playthroughs, and the Doctor is here to prove it. With a resistance to poison moves and a quad resistance to her grass moves, this is the safest any Golbat has ever been. We can confidently stay in and fire off Aerial Ace after Aerial Ace, two-shotting her Victory Bell without taking much damage. Tangela follows suit and nearly getting one shot, but the Ingrain can't save her. One more Aerial Ace and we're still sitting at nearly full HP. Vileplume is last, and we're still looking at a 2-shot with Aerial Ace, slowly breaking through the paras to take her out, winning us our 4th gym badge and putting us halfway through the challenge. The level cap jumps to 43 now, but before we can head towards the next gym, we're called back in for another Team Rocket mission. Our operations in the Celadon Game Corner lead us to our underground hideout, which we're just finding out about and gaining access to as the Rocket execs are starting to see our potential. We can keep up the pressure on our competition as we clear through all the trainers, including that one guy with the Sandshrew, but since they weren't personally handpicked by Archer, they never stood a chance. Turns out, I guess we got a little carried away because these guys are stationed here to guard the leader of Team Rocket. Giovanni sees us fighting and calls us in, and to my surprise, he wants to challenge us to a battle. I won't say no to a fun, friendly battle to hone our skills. Giovanni starts with Onyx, which is not on my list of approved Team Rocket Mons, so right away, this guy's the real deal. Dig is still a 2-shot though, so his defensive tank couldn't even do the one thing it was designed to do. Rhyhorn is his second Mon, another non-approved Rocket Grunt Pokemon, but since he's also a Rock type, we can just go for another Dig to take him out. His last Pokemon is Kangaskhan, and wait a minute, could we be using these guys this whole time? I'm starting to think Giovanni's keeping the rare Pokemon to himself and making us use Rattatas and stuff. Maybe I'm only ahead of my fellow grunts because Archer gave me a rare Houndour to start the game, and that's Team Rocket's way to keep the unwanted grunts at a low level while the execs and Giovanni himself get to hold power. Even still, his rare Pokemon aren't able to beat us though, as Braun can take out Kanga with a low kick to finish the battle. Admitting defeat, Giovanni gives us the Sylph Scope as we part ways for now, but I have a feeling our paths will cross again as we climb the ranks of the organization. With the Sylph Scope though, we can now see the spirits in Pokemon Tower, so we headed back to scale the building. I heard rumors that a rogue branch of Rocket Grunts have kidnapped an old man and are holding him hostage at the very top, so we're going to track them down and see who authorized this assignment. There is that rival battle at the base, but we've got bigger fish to fry as we're now on a rescue mission. The fight was a pushover though, since we're technically supposed to do this as we leave Mount Moon, so we are way overleveled. As we make our way up, a ghostly presence stops us right before we reach the top, and our Sylph Scope reveals it to be a fallen Marowak. It looks like these rogue grunts have killed this mother Marowak, and we're just too late. We can help put the spirit to rest, but now we're on a vendetta. From talking to these guys at the top, or more like beating them up and forcing them to talk, they reveal that they are official Team Rocket orders, and they've kidnapped Mr. Fuji as part of their plans. I can't believe it. I mean, we are the bad guys, but that doesn't mean we have to be the bad guy, you know? Especially these innocent Pokemon that have nothing to do with us, or this random old man who is minding his own business. If this is Team Rocket, then do I wish to be part of these plans? Do I even want to rep this uniform knowing this is what we represent? It's a lot to think about, and we've got to do some soul searching. Before we head down, we have to do something to make things right. On the top floor, we have a 10% chance to run into a Cubone, and we definitely need to help this little guy out if his mother isn't around anymore. We catch him and name him Ollie, and it turns out the Cubone line isn't super common either, at only 5 out of the 50 Rocket Grunts using one. I guess the rest of Team Rocket are too busy killing them to use them in battle, so that's only 10% of the trainers. Numbers-wise though, out of the 134 Pokemon that the Grunts use, only 8 of them are from the Cubone line, which is a measly 6%. So it looks like we're the only grunt who can see the potential that Cubone holds, and we're gonna make full use of that for the rest of our run. Well, with Mr. Fuji rescued, he gives us the Pokeflute to let us wake up the sleeping Snorlax, and this time, I decided to head east and clear out the one on the right. Usually, I do the cycling road Snorlax, but honestly, I thought I forgot to update the bike sprites, so I was trying to avoid that. It turns out, I did update the sprite. I'm such an idiot, I went the long way instead of going through cycling road for no reason. Look, I'm gonna cut to some footage I took after I already finished recording, just so I can show off the bike sprite. I found it online. I think it's supposed to be a motorcycle. If you guys play this for yourself, then you can see the bike in all its glory, but for my playthrough, I really forgot. Machoke ends up being the hard counter to Snorlax, so we made our way through the route and headed into Fuchsia City. I want to head by the Safari Zone to grab the Gold Teeth and the Surf HM, but in order to use it, we first have to take out Koga for the 5th gym badge. And since he's the poison gym leader, we're gonna have a pretty easy time to take him out. So as he starts with coughing, we have Hypno as our lead to fire off Stab Psychics. Coughing is an easy one-shot, but Muck actually has some bulk and ends up tanking it. He only goes for acid armor though, so one more Psychic can take him out. His second coughing is another one-shot. Very unfortunate that he's forced to bring 2 coughings, but even evolving them wouldn't save him because his wheezing is also one-shot with Psychic, winning us the easiest gym battle ever as we collect badge number 5. Before we can even think about the next gym though, we're called back in for an all-hands-on-deck situation. Giovanni's launched an all-out attack on Silphco, and the Rocket Grunts have completely taken over each floor and are holding the employees hostage. I'm forced to head in as everyone's required to show up, and at the very top, Giovanni has a Sylph president held as a hostage. But when we reach the office, Giovanni doesn't seem surprised to see me. After all our encounters, the Celadon Game Corner, the top of Lavender Tower, and the fact that we've just collected our 5th gym badge, I think he's been keeping an eye on me. We've been getting stronger, not as a Rocket Grunt, but as an actual Pokemon trainer. And now he's starting to ask questions. And instead of bossing me around to stand guard on the 4th floor or something, Giovanni decides he wants to see my strength for himself. if his star pupil is truly loyal to Team Rocket, or maybe someone coming after his power. Giovanni starts the battle with Nidorino, and we have a secret ace up our sleeves. The Doctor steps out, having fully evolved into Crobat since our last encounter. We've been building strong bonds with all our team members, not just treating them as tools for battle, and our efforts have paid off as Golbat's gained enough friendship to evolve into his final form. 2 aerial aces can finish off his lead, and to counter our flying type, Giovanni sends out Rhyhorn next. But it's not just Crobat who's evolved. Braun also steps out, revealing he's been training in the back this whole time and evolved into his final form Machamp. Trade evolutions have been changed to level up, so we're able to hit our final Evo in this playthrough. Rhyhorn goes down, and at this point, it looks like Giovanni's out of options. His follow-up Kangaskhan is a weird switch-in, but Braun easily takes care of her as well, which only leaves Nidoqueen. Unfortunately, she does resist our attacks, but that's nothing Boxy can't handle as we go underground to hit her with a super effective dig, finishing off the battle just like we had in Celadon. But this time, things feel different. Giovanni isn't smiling anymore. This time, he feels a little cautious. I think he's not testing me anymore. He's evaluating whether I've become a problem for both him and for Team Rocket. He steps back and vanishes with the rest of Team Rocket, but this time, he had a different tone to his voice, almost like a warning. I've got a sinking feeling that the next time we meet, it won't be as members of the same team anymore. We do have to prepare for our next encounter, and since Team Rocket's cleared out of the city, we finally have access to the gym here. Sabrina is the leader here, and her specialty is psychic types, which normally would be a run-ender for a Rocket Grunt, but with our starter being a dark type, we're gonna have another pretty easy time here. Honestly, if you started with Ariana or Petrol starters, you'd definitely be in more trouble, but you can get the Shadow Ball TM from the game corner and teach it to Raticate, Crobat, or maybe even Physical Hypno. Hypno does get Meditate, so you could set up on her Psychic types and sweep. For our team though, yeah, the Dark type's gonna carry. We've also learned Feint Attack, and this is insanely strong. We one-shot Kadabra, and then we also one-shot Mr. Mime right after. All Dark type moves are special in Gen 3, so we get to utilize our higher special attack for more damage. For Venomoth, we switch into Ember because I forgot to get the Flamethrower TM from the game corner, and Venomoth actually tanks it. She only whiffs a Supersonic in return, so Sabrina's stuck in an endless loop of healing as we bring her right back down to the red. She eventually goes down, which leaves only Alakazam as her final mon, but we can go right back to our Feint Attack strat to one-shot her ace too, winning us a very straightforward badge number 6. That's everything from the mainland knocked out, so we can set our sails for Cinnabar for a couple more things. First, we do have one final encounter to grab. You're probably already wondering where he's been, but inside the Pokemon Mansion, we can find a Grimer who got the nickname Doughy. The Grimer line, I'm very surprised, actually is only represented by 6 out of the 50 Rocket Grunts. That's even less than Machop, putting it only 1 above Cubone. When you look across all 134 Pokemon they used, the Grimer line is only 7. Only 7 of them. That's just 5% for all Team Rocket Pokemon. I don't know why, I thought there'd be more, but yeah, Grimer is not popular among Team Rocket Grunts. It's actually the least popular when you factor out the post-game battles too. And with our new team members, I decided it was time to rearrange the teams and get some of these new guys on board. So thank you Raticate and Sandslash, you guys were pivotal to the early game, but now that we'll be facing actual threats, we'll need to bring out the big guns. Our new Marowak will be the ground answer to Blaine, as one by one, we can dig underground to take out his fire types. We did get intimidated by Growlithe at the start, but thanks to Blaine using 2 unevolved Pokemon, we were pretty safe to one-tap them thanks to our stab. And this is without the Thick Club too, so imagine how strong we'll be when we have that unlocked. Rapidash actually does big damage to us with Fire Blast though, and our dig isn't able to break through this time, so we have to tag into Doughy for his support. Our 2 newest team members are working together now, as Doughy can take out his Fire Horse with a Sludge Bomb, but unfortunately, thanks to Arcanine's Intim dropping our attack, we can't stay in anymore. Our starter has a free switch-in thanks to our Flash Fire ability, forcing Arcanine to use Takedown as we chip him away with Feint Attack, but since Blaine wants to keep healing, we eventually get outstalled. Crobat ends up being the one to finish him off, tagging in for the final bit of health and finishing the battle for our 7th gym badge. In the journey to become a Pokemon trainer, one must discover what kind of path they are after. When the gym trainers talk of the one who bested their leader, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? One forged from thievery and intimidation, or one born from the bond between us and our Pokemon? That's a lesson that's never been imparted on Giovanni, and now's our one and only chance to do something good, to remove his influence and do something good for once. Giovanni, this is for everything. He starts the battle with Rhyhorn, and we've got Ollie starting off on our side. Rhyhorn is insanely slow, so we can outspeed and go underground with Dig, resurfacing on the next turn for a simple one-shot. This is without the Thick Club, by the way, so imagine if our attack was doubled. Giovanni sends out Dugtrio next, trying to fake an arena trap, but we can switch it up with Headbutt to target their horrible defenses. We only need one hit, and Giovanni's already down 2 Pokemon. He immediately sends out Nidoqueen as his third, and this time, Giovanni catches us off guard. As we go underground with Dig, Nidoqueen's anticipating this and catches us with an Earthquake. The way this interaction works is if you're underground, not only does it hit you, but you also take double damage. Luckily, Marowak's got really high physical defense, so we can tank it and fire back with our Dig, resurfacing for the clean one-shot. Her Poison Point gets us on the way out, so when his 4th Pokemon Nidoking comes out, we've got to switch. Seeing that Nidoqueen had used Earthquake, we know the King is probably going to do the same, so we can bring out the Doctor to be immune. By flying up and avoiding his attacks, we can outmaneuver his penultimate Mon and score an easy KO thanks to a well-timed crit, leaving only his ace. His level 50 Rhyhorn hits the field, but this is an easy tag out into Brawn. A single cross chop breaks through his unevolved ace's bulk, taking out Giovanni's last remaining Pokemon and winning us badge number 8. You did good, kid. I can see now why they speak your name with such high regard. The next Giovanni. I used to chuckle at that rumor. Good luck with Team Rocket. And just like that, Giovanni disappeared into the night, never to be seen again. We have our 8 badges, but to completely earn Team Rocket's trust to lead them in a new direction, I wanted to take on the Elite Four as the final mountain to climb. Man, I can't believe this is everyone who's helped us, and in the order they joined the team. I'm just imagining if we had Vileplume or Weezing here as the other possible starters we could have chosen, like, it would have been a totally different vibe, but I'm still extremely proud of our little group of fellas and us representing Archer's legacy through his Houndoom. And with our whole team on board and leveled up to match Lance's level cap of 60, we're ready to head in and take on the final challenge of the run and prove once and for all that our team of only Team Rocket Pokemon do have what it takes to become champion and make meaningful change in the region. Let's prove them right. Our first opponent is gonna be the Ice Specialist Lorelei, starting off the battle with Dugong as we're going with Brawn for the hard counter. It's gonna be a nice and easy Brick Break as we can hit the Stab Black Belt Boosted 2 super effective move for an easy knockout. Lorelei counters back with Slowbro, but Huggy's our answer to Psychic types as he fires off with Crunch to take him out, doing a little less since Slowbro set up that Amnesia, but after tanking a Surf, we can go for one more to take out her second Mon. Cloyster is out third, but since her special defense is beyond awful, we can stay in and go for another Crunch to take her out. Lapras is out fourth, but since we got rid of that Slowbro, it's free for Brawn to come out and hard counter her with a Brick Break. And lastly, against Jinx, she actually outplays us by immobilizing us with Attract, then putting us to sleep with Lovely Kiss. I already know this sucker's not gonna break through all that, so we have to bring out our unbothered ace representation Doey for the cleanup. We ignore Jinx's Attract and fire back with a Stab Sludge Bomb, finishing off her final Mon in a single hit and winning us our first Elite Four battle. Our second opponent is the fighting expert Bruno, who's starting with his pathetic Onix as we've got Catnap to start the battle. He's our dedicated Psychic type, firing off powerful special attacks into Bruno's already weak to Psychic team, one-shotting his lead despite us not being super effective. And from this point on, it's just one shot after one shot as we outspeed and finish off each of Bruno's Pokemon before they can even attack. Even his ace Machamp goes down in just one Twisted Spoon boosted Psychic, winning us a very simple second Elite Four battle. Third up, we've got Agatha, our resident ghost type specialist, who starts the battle with Gengar as we've got the Doctor leading on our side. Houndoom would be the dedicated answer, but I've taught Crobat the Shadow Ball TM from the game corner, and since ghost moves are all physical in Gen 3, we've got an insanely strong ghost attack to hit her team with. Gengar easily gets one shot, and this actually baits out Haunter since her AI wants to use the super effective Dream Eater. Obviously, we're not sleeping, and also, we just one-shot her with another Shadow Ball, so it's not like that even mattered. Agatha does have 2 Gengars, but this one's her ace, and thanks to those extra levels, she manages to survive her Shadow Ball. She fires back with Hypnosis, and since we forgot to add a Chesto Berry or something to counter that, we need to switch out. We bring out our starter Huggy to absorb the Nightmare, and with a few more crunches, we can sweep through the rest of her team, taking out Gengar, Golbat, and Arbok without much of a fight, winning us a pretty simple 3rd Elite Four battle. Our little Team Rocket sprite marches through the final hall as we've only got one confrontation left before the champion match. Elite Four Lance stands in our way, but we are more than prepared for his team of dragon types. He starts the battle with Gyarados, cutting our attack with Intimidate, but we've got some hidden tech in our Doughy. Muck can somehow learn Thunderbolt and Thunder, but instead, we're running Shockwave, the TM from Lieutenant Surge. This was mainly to counter Agatha's double teaming Gengar as a just-in-case kind of thing, but we can also use this to counter Lance's flying types. Gyara goes down in 2 hits, making that one down with 4 Pokemon left. Aerodactyl immediately hits the field, and at first, I wanted to get some chip with Shockwave, but Aero actually crits an Ancient Power, and we don't do too much damage here. Doughy's gonna be out of commission for now as we bring out Ollie for the counter, taking him out with a now Thick Club boosted Brick Break. But thanks to us just missing out on the 2-shot, we're not in much condition to face off against his Dragonite. I was packing Ice Beam just for this matchup, but unfortunately, we've got to pivot a little. We tag into Catnap for his support, and thanks to his natural bulk, we tank that wing attack and put him to sleep with Hypnosis. That's the opening we need, as Braun can come in without the threat of a wing attack to fire off super effective Rock Slides. It's unfortunately a 2-shot, but Dragonite does not wake up, meaning one more Rock Slide and we've just felled his ace. His remaining 2 Dragonair are not a problem, as Brick Break one-taps both of them, securing us the victory as we've now cleared through all Elite Four battles with one last challenge ahead of us. Our rival, Gary Oak, stands before us in the champion room. It's been a while since we faced off against each other, but it seems like he's been out of the loop for all our character growth. He doesn't know anything about the Lavender Tower incident or what we did at Silphco. Confused by our sudden strength, he challenges us to one last battle, the ultimate deciding battle of whether we're gonna win this run or if we've got to reset for a different starter. We initially started with Ollie against his lead Pidgeot, but Pidgeot's Feather Dance is too annoying as he keeps nerfing our attack. I don't want to put him in heal range and have to do it all over, so we instead bring out Doughy to finish him off. This also helps bait out Alakazam as his next Mon, so we can get rid of him early thanks to help from our starter. One crunch later and Zam's out, which now baits out Rhydon as he wants to use Earthquake. We've got a way to play around it though, as we can go into Crobat to be immune to it, baiting out Rock Tomb, giving us a switch into Ollie for his support. We've upgraded his Dig TM, so instead of going underground and getting hit by a double-powered Earthquake, we've learned our lesson and can fire back with our own EQ. Rhydon goes down, making that 3 Pokemon down with half his team left. Blastoise hits the field next, and normally the optimal play would be to sack Ollie here, but that's not how we operate. We switch into Catnap for his bulk, but Gary's running some random move AI and pulls Bite instead. Well, that's no issue because we're a special defense tank, meaning we can tank it, put him to sleep with Hypnosis, and set up a single Calm Mind. With our Psychic being a 2-shot, we're clear to finish off his ace without taking too much damage, leaving only 2 Pokemon left. Arcanine comes out first, but instead of using his special attacks, he's trying to use Extreme Speed. That bypasses our special defense boost from Calm Mind, but Catnap is just too bulky as we can hold our ground to take him out with a few more Psychics, which now only leaves his final Pokemon. Exeggutor hits the field, but that's the perfect opportunity to switch into Crobat. All we need is a Stab, Shark Beak boosted Fly for the Doctor to finish him off, winning us the final battle of the run and making us the new Kanto champions. With our newfound authority as the champion of the Kanto region, Team Rocket was no longer the criminal organization it once was. We ceased our operations in Mount Moon and worked to restore the local wildlife there. Lavender Town and its surrounding routes became a safe haven for Cubone, letting us restore their population back to what it once was. And we restored Saffron back to its previous state, clearing out of the city and helping Silphco get back on its feet. I know we came from Team Rocket, literally couldn't have gotten our start without the Rocket admin support, but it's good that we could still recognize the flaws of our group and be the one to break free to make meaningful change. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed our little journey as a Rocket Grunt. If you want more FireRed challenges, I've also done videos where I modified the game code to make the game feel fresh again. If you're interested in that, feel free to click here and check it out. That's all I've got for now. Thank you all for being here. I'll see ya.